News Final with Chris Skeen and Don Martin.
Good evening. Firefighters are still at the scene of a factory fire on Lewis and Eastern Avenue near Broadview. The fire broke out shortly after 10 o'clock tonight at a paint shop. Within minutes, firefighters and 5 fire trucks were at the location. They managed to get things under control pretty quickly. Details are still sketchy. It's not known yet what started the blaze. There were no injuries reported. There are rumors around Queen's Park that a snap election is pending, and for the provincial Liberals, the timing couldn't be better. Today, the party staged strategy sessions on how to win seats in Metro Toronto. The party feels one of the keys to victory in Metro is to have candidates that reflect the population. Bill Turbovich reports.
It was not expected when the Ontario Liberal Party held a meeting on how to win seats in Metro, it would come amid rumors of a snap election. The Ontario Liberals only hold 3 seats in and around Metro. They're aiming for 15 in the next election. About 100 senior party officials, MPPs, former candidates, and leader David Peterson attended a series of workshops today. The party is going back to the basics in its attempt to change its fortunes in Metro. Strategies were plotted on such items as guidelines for finding candidates, how to make the central party work for individual ridings, policy training, and how to become better known in respective communities. But it was in the area of candidates that leader David Peterson wanted change, especially for Metro.
I want our caucus to reflect the real face of Ontario. The real face of Ontario. I'm telling you today that I am establishing in the immediate future an ethnocultural perspectives committee that will come in and guide the caucus, will give us suggestions on policy, assist us in reaching out in the community to make sure that we understand all of the sensitivities in the communities of the various ethnocultural groups.
Peterson was enthused about the day's proceedings and said no party will succeed and survive if ideas only filter down from the hierarchy. That in itself may be part of the Liberals' problem. One of the aspects to come out of today's meeting is perhaps potentially disturbing. It's that the Liberals are very good at convincing party faithful they are the viable alternative. However, they fall flat when they talk to people outside the party. That will have to change if they hope to form the next government. Bill Turbovich, CBC News, Queen's Park.
North York's Villa Colombo is a normally quiet rest home and community center, but that quiet was shattered this morning when about 60 housekeeping, maintenance, and dietary staff who work at the home staged a protest. They're angry because the management of Villa Colombo has recently been contracting out for help. If they could say they hope the protest will show how angry they are over management's actions. Today's protest is apparently the first of many planned by the staff. Metro Police are looking for 2 suspects who fled a Yorkville jewelry store this morning with an unknown number of diamonds after shooting the store owner. Bill Turbovich reports.
Sergeant 52. Yeah, that motorcycle was a red Kawasaki. 2 young persons. The person on the rear had a gray suit on. Both fellows had black full-face type helmets. That means with the helmet part protruding over the chin.
Metro Police were quick to respond to a jewelry heist at Oliver's Jewelers at 112 Cumberland Avenue at 11:33 this morning. According to police, 2 men wearing motorcycle helmets entered the store, smashed a display case, took an unknown quantity of diamonds, and shot store owner Russ Oliver in the foot when he tried to stop them. An eyewitness who declined to identify himself said he heard 2 shots.
My wife and I heard a bang, and we looked over and we could hear yelling and screaming from the store. Maybe not screaming, but yelling anyway. And we heard glass smashing, and then we looked and we heard one more bang, and then the 2 guys ran down the stairs. They had black motorcycle helmets on, and the guy from the store was following him down. He was limping. We got into a little bike just down the street and took off.
Other witnesses in nearby shops heard the gunshots and called police. There were no other injuries. Russ Oliver was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he was treated for superficial wounds to his right foot. Police are continuing their investigation. It's not known if a license number was obtained as the 2 robbers sped off on a motorbike. Bill Turbovich, CBC News, Toronto.
A young man armed with a knife took a swipe at an unsuspecting police officer this afternoon. The incident took place around 12:30. Police Constable Joseph Lizotte was sitting in his car at the intersection of Victoria and Dundas Street East. The suspect approached the police cruiser, kicked in the door on the driver's side, and then walked around the back of the car. Officer Lizotte got out of the car and the other man lunged at him, piercing his jacket with a knife. Another officer quickly arrived on the scene. 24-year-old Panagiopannatas Asimonius was arrested and taken into custody. He's been charged with attempted murder. Officer Lizotte escaped the incident unharmed. A 60-year-old man has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. That following the stabbing death of a 62-year-old man from Keswick, southwest of Barrie. James Samuel Hanlon died early this morning after being stabbed in the abdomen during a quarrel at his home. Charles White will appear in Newmarket Provincial Court on Monday. An Ontario couple arrested by the FBI in Tampa, Florida, have been brought back here to face fraud and theft charges. The two will be in court in Hamilton on Monday. The charges they face are in connection with a fraud scheme involving a bank and farm machinery dealers near Hamilton. In its 1982 throne speech, the Ontario government promised a paramedic program to be in place by the end of the year. It's been more than 2 years since that announcement, and this Monday, the first group of paramedics will finally hit the streets in Toronto and Hamilton. Terry Walsh has more.
Provincial ambulance attendants are restricted in the amount and type of medical care they may provide. That restriction has often put the lives of patients in danger. But with the introduction of Ontario's paramedic program, up to 500 lives a year may be saved. Specially trained ambulance attendants will now be able to practice additional procedures so critical in life and death situations. These procedures include giving drugs and starting a patient on intravenous. The first 6 graduates of the paramedic program just completed an extensive 3-month course at the Toronto Institute of Medical Technology. By August, more than 40 more paramedics will be on the streets throughout the province. Terry Walsh, CBC News, Toronto.
The Canadian Arab Friendship Society is holding a conference this weekend at the Triumph Sheraton Hotel in Downsview. 1982 marked 100 years of Arab history in Canada. The conference is an examination of that history.
The significance of the conference is the fact that we do actually have a conference in which we are discussing the history and contributions of Arab Canadians to Canada in the past 100 years, so that all immigrants, as in the case of the Arabs, will come to understand their roots and their significance and contributions to Canada in general.
When he's away from the hustle and bustle of the legislature, Attorney General Roy McMurtry often takes off his politician's hat and picks up a paintbrush. He's an amateur artist. And this weekend, samples of his work were on display. In fact, one called Ice Flow, Quebec City, was raffled off as a door prize. McMurtry's work and the work of more than 40 other artists were exhibited during the Trinity College Sale of Canadian Art. The exhibit gives artists a chance to show off their talents. It also gives the college a chance to raise money for its art restoration fund. So far, about 50 paintings on display have been sold. Thousands of Metro and area residents attended this year's Home Show, running all this week at Exhibition Place. The Home Show is expected to draw over 300,000 visitors during its run. In many cases, visitors viewed accessories to the home that they could only dream about, like this luxury sauna and shower system for a mere $24,000. Of course, there are other tubs and pools to look at. If pools are too much for the pocketbook, there's always a new den and living room that can be added to your home. The Home Show runs until next weekend. For those a little more interested in science than the technology of home building and design, there was a special exhibit at the Royal Ontario Museum today. It was the separate school science fair for junior and senior high school students. Aspiring scientists of the future set up exhibits dealing with various aspects of the scientific field. Many of the young scientists included the use of computers and computer technology in their exhibits. At the opposite end of the spectrum from science and computers, the Canadian Fly Fishing Forum was on today as well. The Fly Fishing Forum is an annual event in its 9th year here in Toronto. Fishing enthusiasts from all over North America gathered for the 2-day event. It features demonstrations on fly tying, rod building, and casting. There are also numerous workshops on the different aspects of the sport, conducted by internationally renowned experts in the field. And the weatherman says we're finally going to see some sun tomorrow. Right now it's 1 degree in Metro. Skies are clear and winds are northerly. The barometer's holding steady. Overnight, the temperature will dip a little lower to -2. It should remain mainly clear. Tomorrow promises to be a perfect day. Skies will be sunny and the high should reach about 9. The expected low tomorrow night will be around freezing. And the long-range forecast for Monday calls for comfortable temperatures. The high should reach around 10. It'll become increasingly cloudy as the day progresses. And that's news and weather. Here's Don Martin with sports. What's happening?